Well, good morning here. Just wanted to show you guys what we look at. And this makes my head look big. Look at it. No. We do a roof leak inspection. So I just put my ladder up there. And if you're wondering, no, you don't have to put up safety equipment for an inspection. You have to put up safety equipment once you start doing work and the roof is safe to get on. So first thing I do, put the ladder in a safe area right next to the truck, and then the inspection starts here along the eave. We can see it's an architectural shingle. We want to look underneath and see how many layers it is. So we lift it up and then we can see a starter, which actually is somebody turned the shingle backwards. Sorry, that screen dirty. Somebody turned a shingle backwards for a starter, so that already starts with how the quality might be. And they overlapped it with a 3-tab on the side. There's a layer of felt, an old layer of felt, no drip edge, and CDX plywood. So, based on my experience, I can tell about how old the roof is. It looks to me like it's maybe 10 to 12 years old. And they reported leaks over here near the chimney. That the wall inside has got damaged. So then now we start seeing what's going on here, and they got a lot going on. Looks like they had a lot going on between the roof and the bricks and everything. Like, look at these. There's all kind of cracks. That's called the crown. And look at some of the mortars gone on the bricks. So they have leaks like inside the actual chimney coming down in the house, which that's the brick problem. But they have leaks coming down the ceiling and the wall, which is a roof problem. Chimney looks like it's leaning out a little bit. And I don't think this flashing was replaced the last time the roof was done, just because of the age that it looks. And then you can see where they recaulked it. So, and I see exposed nails. There you go, there's the culprit. Look at that. So, look, there's an overdriven nail, but it's not rusty, so it's not getting wet. There's one that has water getting underneath if it's getting wet. But look at that. They have the uphill flashing going underneath the downhill flashing. You can even see the old line from the old roof. This is supposed to be underneath that one. So it's literally forcing water to come underneath. Oh, they didn't actually use the flashing. Look, you're supposed to put on a shingle, a piece of flashing, shingle, piece of flashing, shingle, piece of flashing, shingle, and they actually just nailed it on top. And then, look, nice hole inside there. So, I don't know if these people actually hired I think they said this roof was done when they bought the house, but this is a good example of a job done by the cheapest person, when you're like, well, isn't it all the same? Because, well, I got this 30-year architectural shingle. It's only as good as who installed it. The architectural shingle might be rated to last 30 years, but it's not going to if it's not done right. You already saw that they didn't even tear off all the underlayment down to a clean deck. There's no drip edge around the perimeter. There's not a proper starter. The shingles aren't nailed right. They left the old chimney flashing caulked around. Now it's going to be several $1,000s worth of repairs for these people. Before I even started looking around, look, short course, meaning that they couldn't even figure out how to start down here to make sure this equaled that part over there. Plastic pipe collars. I mean, we stopped using these 20-something years ago, and that roof feels a little squishy underneath of it. Instead of buying the actual ridge caps, they cut 3-tab shingles to make the ridge caps, which doesn't make much sense because that takes more time. But now, these aren't made to bend over the top, and they left the nails exposed. And as a look, oh, here's a good one. Mixed ventilation. So, this attic must have got hot, so they're like, let's add this power fan, but they have all these box vents. Mixed ventilation is, think about it, if you have a straw down in your drink and you poke a hole in the side of your straw, are you going to get more drink to come up, or do you think it's going to suck more air? It's going to suck air, and then you're going to get less. So this, you're short circuiting it, meaning when that fan cuts on, is it going to draw air from the eaves 15, 16 feet away, or is it going to draw air from these vents next to it? And I guarantee if you did a smoke test and filled the attic with smoke, turn this on, it's going to exhaust the air out of there and come right back in there, and you're just going to have this one little spot of the attic cooled off is what it's going to do. These shingles are already showing some wear prematurely, which to me has to do with the poor ventilation there. Again, some plastic pipe collars. Oh, here's a good one. It's assumed that this is over top of the bathroom. So they put one of these little box vents over the bathroom. So actually, a rodent can crawl right up inside here, crawl inside and crawl and go down the pipe and go into the vent, into the bathroom. Versus you're supposed to use the small ones with a flap that actually lifts up. So when you turn the fan on, the flap lifts up. And it keeps from the air going back inside. So right now, air can actually just go inside too if it's a windy day. And look, again, more exposed fasteners. It's just a fun one. Oh, side note, this is so close to the office that my office is actually right over there. I don't think you can zoom in on this, but right there is our office. So right over here next to Kroger. It was a long way to go over here. A little bit of tree branches rubbing against the side. That's just on the homeowner needs to trim their bushes. Yeah, and here's a good point. I told you about this 3 taps for the cap. Look, they're not made to bend over the top. They are not made out of the same materials. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to crack. And then based on the brand of shingles, you can see all this algae growing on here. All that dark stuff, that's algae. And it's unsightly. It doesn't really damage the shingle until a long time down the road. Look, there's a nail still, look, sitting on the roof. Look at that. Haven't even started work yet. Here for an estimate. But this gets less sun than this side, so this side dries out faster. When it rains, this gets wet, and then algae grows on there. That's what it does. And then the reason why is because there's not enough copper granules in the shingles to keep it from growing. And that's a difference between getting one brand and another. So all in all, this is pretty much, I'm not even going to touch that porch, man. Like, I think I'm not going to pick on that one because I think that's a homeowner special. It has to be. Rolled roofing, tarred, together with drip edge on top. Like, I'm going to assume that's a homeowner special because there's plastic gutters on the house too. So we're not even going to pick on that one today. But so now this homeowner is going to get an estimate for a few $1,000s for reflashing this chimney. And then it's worth the conversation of, we're going to fix the ventilation so this roof can possibly last another 10 to 15 years, or should they bite the bullet and just replace their roof that's less than 10 years old and then it'll last for a lifetime. So that's how it goes.